It's so easy for a show to go, oh, that's wholesome, to, oh, that's incest. But I digress. Greetings, ladies and gentlemen, I am MrFonrath, and with the ending of the year, Happy New Year's, by the way. I'm not exactly sure when this video will come out, but probably like a few days after New Year's. Hope all of you had a merry, merry time. But with the new year comes a new bunch of anime. The Winter 2025 season of anime. And I just came back, something came up, and I don't remember what I was talking about. So, all you need to know is that I, as the self-proclaimed arbiter of all things anime, I will go through this list of anime right here for the Winter 2025 season. Essentially, I will be looking at mainly the main picture here, the promotional art, as well as if I think it looks good or sounds interesting, I will read the description, and then I will determine if it's worth watching. Now, I'm not always right, obviously, you know. I'm not always right, it is what it is, but I am sometimes right, and that's all that matters. Oh, and by the way, I'm just gonna mention this now before we get into it, but I am a serious anime enjoyer. In case this is your first time seeing any of my content, or seeing me talk about anime, I am a serious anime enjoyer, okay? I enjoy serious stories, I enjoy... Honestly, you might even wonder why I like anime in the first place. Sometimes I feel like I keep talking about how, live action shows and Western 40-minute shows are just better in every way. So you might wonder, why the fuck am I even talking about anime? Why am I an anime fan? Well, that's a whole topic that I'm not going to get into. But most importantly, there's something like this, right? Something like this, where you see comedy, ecchi, and romance. I'm just gonna skip it, like instantly. Not interested. Let's just get right into it, shall we? First up, Solo Leveling. Solo! I'm on Solo. I'm on Solo. Solo Leveling. Now, honestly, I'm actually surprised that it even got a second season, not gonna lie. Or at least, I would say that if it wasn't for the final episode of the first season, I reacted, actually, to the first season of Solo Leveling, and I was on, I think, episode 12 or 11, the last episode, and I didn't even realize that that was the end of the season. Legitimately, like, it was... I recorded the episode, and I uploaded, and I just waited for the next week for the because I was reacting to it as it was coming out, and I was waiting, and then it didn't happen. It didn't come. The next episode didn't come, and I was like, what? Where the fuck is the next episode? And it baffled me because I didn't get a single feeling that this was the last episode. It was like they just left it off on some random episode. It's like if you're on episode 7 of a show and then they just leave it off. It's like it got cancelled or something. It was so fucking weird. So fucking weird. The week after uploading the last, the reaction to the last episode for me, where I realized, oh, last week was the last episode? What? Huh? What? That was my experience with Solo Leveling Season 1. The first season was pretty good, so it's like, I'm obviously gonna continue with it. I don't expect the second season to be any better than the first season, to be honest. I think it's gonna be about more of the same. I mean, I had my own gripes with the first season, which I'm not gonna get into, but this is definitely worth checking out. So let's move on. Another banger, by the way, and I mean, I would say Solo Leveling banger. Okay, like, I mean, it's kind of generic fantasy, power fantasy, but it's still like a banger show, right? Like, you're gonna watch it. Now this one is the one that I'm really looking forward to. Apothecary Diaries, I think. Really good show. Incredibly good show, by the way. The only thing I will say about this show, other than the fact that you should 100% watch the first season. The only thing I would say about this, I hope to God, I cannot stress this enough, I hope to God, also hang on a second, 1 second. How could I possibly have forgotten my nerd glasses? Because obviously I'm talking about anime cringe, so obviously I need my nerd glasses, right? I mean, can't get by without my nerd glasses. Anyway, as I was saying, I hope to God that this story does not do any romance, okay? I really, really, really hope that this show does not do any romance, okay? They have been, like, the first season 100% kind of alluded to the fact that the guy, right? Hang on. The guy here, right, is into the protagonist, right? Into the main character. And everybody around them also sees this, except for her, right? And it's like, honestly, I think the show is much better off without doing any kind of romance. They can have like a I guess good friendship, I feel like, sure. But you should never turn this into some sort of romance, I feel like. I feel like the moment you turn it into a romance between these two, the show will lose its charm. In my opinion, one of the best things about the show is the fact that she's not into this guy. Right, and they show it pretty clearly, where she's constantly like, brushing him off and like, kind of actually showing that she's just not interested. Now, I'm not saying that she's a lesbian or something like that. No. I'm just saying that shows like this are great until they fall into the trap that is romance. Because once you start doing it, it just becomes kind of cringe. As the first season is great. But I'm just saying, I really hope to God that they don't push the romance. It would kind of make it cringe, I feel like. That's my core feeling about the show. Otherwise, the show is incredibly good. Incredibly good. Moving on. Dr. Stone, Dr. Stone is fine these days. I'm not gonna lie, the first 2 seasons, I guess, were pretty good, but I think the show lost its charm when they kind of started skipping steps in the actual science, right? The show was incredibly good at the beginning, where they would show you how they were doing things and this and that, and how you build goddamn the antibiotics and like stuff like that, right? That was incredibly good. But the moment they went like deeper into the war arc, it became more about the war rather than the science. And then after that, once the war was done, instead of getting back to the science, which is what I hoped would happen, it was like, again, they made the ship, right? And they went to the other island or whatever, and with the other people, and then once again it became some sort of like battle, like some sort of battle anime, some sort of battle thing. It's like, why? The majority of the enjoyment of Dr. Stone came from the science, right? Learning how you can do certain things with stone tools or whatever, right? I feel like maybe I'm the only one who thinks this, but I feel like most of the enjoyment came from the science. And ever since they started doing these more like battle-oriented seasons and storylines, it kind of like they started skipping a lot of steps in the actual science department, I guess, and not showing how they do certain things, and just like kind of like half-heartedly showing you things, like showing you some things that they're making in the show, with science. But they're kind of skipping over other things, like the smaller things and the more like mundane things. And it just kind of like, not to mention the amount of characters they keep adding to the show. It just, the first 2 seasons maybe were like really good, but then it kind of went downhill, not gonna lie. Honestly, I would love it if they would, I don't know, like go back to the science. Stop fighting things. Like maybe you can have I don't know why man being kind of maybe a threat somehow or a mystery in the background, but mainly you're, I don't know, building things to rebuild society or rebuild or you know, building things to help the community that they now have, right? Like I feel like it would just be so much more interesting. That's just my opinion. Moving on, yeah, like I said earlier, skip comedy, ecchi, romance. So basically I have this thing with 5 tags, I believe, and the 5 tags are comedy, ecchi, romance, school, and harem. Comedy, ecchi, romance, school, and harem. If a show has 3 of any of these 5, it's an immediate skip, okay? Second season of a show that I did not watch. Once again, like this, I mean, maybe... You know what I have a problem with? Is I look at this, right? I look at this picture, and you know what I see? I see the main character of this show is the girl. Why? Have you noticed, if you've been watching anime for a long time, have you noticed that when the main character is a girl, then the romance interest, right? The love interest guy is like this cool, sleek, you know, handsome, you know, kind of badass guy, right? And then when you have a show that's kind of the opposite way, where the main, where the guy is the main character, then the guy is like, well, you know the type, right? The Kirito motherfucking looking ass, right? The short black hair, the basic like jeans or something, and then a basic shirt, and it's like, why? Like I don't understand. When the guy is the main character, the protagonist, I guess you could say, then it's like a Kirito copy, right? Like a very average modern day Japanese kid, right? Incredibly fucking dull and boring and average. But when the main character is a girl, then the guy is like this, like, you know, attractive, handsome, you know, cool-looking dude. Why can't the handsome, cool-looking dude be the main character of his own show? You know, I feel like I would watch some of these romance shows a lot more if, like, this guy, right, was the harem protagonist. But they don't do that for some reason. Now you might say, well, maybe it's like the self-insert fantasy, right? For Japanese young Japanese males, right, where they want to see themselves, and then they're Kirito motherfucking looking asses as the main characters. And then for these types of shows, the self-insert would be for the girls. The girls are getting with the handsome prince, right? But I'm sorry, like, if I'm watching a show and I'm trying to self-insert into a character, I would much rather self-insert myself into a badass, attractive-looking male character, rather than some sort of average, dull, cringe, like, teenager. But getting back to the show itself here, I didn't watch the first season, not gonna watch the second season. All of these types of shows, like, I just look at this and I can see immediately what the show is like. I mean, you look at this and you see, in your head, you see so many other shows that are exactly like this. Guy seemed like the classic, the generic type of, like, oh, cool and seemingly cold-hearted, but has a heart of gold and is actually a very kind person inside. A tale as old as time, basically. A character as old as time. Moving on. And no, I'm not going to watch this. Once again, more romance. Let's read the description of this one. We gotta go faster as well. In middle school, this person was nicknamed Stone. In order to change herself, she enrolled in this high school known for its culture of student liberty. Desk next to her in the same class, Kai, freewheeling boy, lemon color of the hair, blah blah blah. In truth, So it's basically just very... I mean, you notice similarities, right? I mean, right? I mean, somehow it's very interesting how it's like almost like, switch the characters around, right? It's almost like the same thing, except maybe in different time periods. And once again, the main character is the girl, right? Why is the main guy, again, a very like cool dude, right? Like the cool, attractive dude. Why do they have blonde hair? Why do they always have blonde hair? It's these like obvious patterns that you constantly see. And you know what? If you switched out the fact that the main character is a girl and you switch them into a boy, all of a sudden you would have, well, basically like any other kid, right? Like the any other Kirito looking ass, right? There was a show, a lot of people know it, which I didn't watch, but even I know of it, right? Dress Up Darling, or My Dress Up Darling. It's like you switched these two characters around, their genders, right? If the main guy is the main character, then the girl is like kind of, usually blonde or whatever, right? And the extroverted one, right? Pulling the introverted main guy along for some reason. And it's just cringe. Why can't this blonde guy, this attractive, charismatic blonde guy, be the main character? I don't know. I think they're just kind of stupid with understanding what people actually want. I would much rather watch a show where the main guy is competent and charismatic and confident and self-insert into that character rather than self-insert into a fucking loser. But that's just my opinion. This thing, I didn't watch the first season, don't know what it is. I'm not gonna watch a bunch of kids, right? Enough said. Comedy, romance, ooh, we're getting very close to that, ooh. On the picture here, we're saying girl, 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 girl. And then, what is that? What is it? The name is in the way, but you can see this little thing here, right? This little thing here, that's the main character, by the way. Oh, this girl on that takes up 90% of the picture, that's not the main character. That's the main love interest, right? The most likely, I wouldn't be surprised, childhood friend who is like into the main guy and then brings him fucking bentos for lunch as they go to the same school. I would not be surprised. Said to inherit his grandfather's magical blah blah blah, must marry this person, girl blah blah blah. Not interested. Moving on. So here for this one, action, adventure, comedy, fantasy. So maybe, right? Maybe. But immediately I'm looking at the promotional art here and I'm seeing, okay, main character is a female. That's a bonus. These days, that's a bonus, okay? I do not want to see another fucking loser male protagonist that just doesn't have any personality, right? So that's a plus these days. I'm seeing, unfortunately, the site has its fucking... Because the name is so big, it blocks like half the promotional art. Whatever. Point is, I'm seeing, girl, dragon, girl, guy, maybe another guy, and then some other characters, right? Point is, it seems kind of a fantasy, comedic type of show. Alina thought she had found the perfect job as a guild receptionist. It's stable, safe, and has a super cute uniform. This dream gig turns into an overtime nightmare whenever adventurers get stuck clearing a dungeon. Tired of the long shifts, she starts taking down the bosses herself. She even earns the name Executioner for her impressive skills. Can she keep her identity a secret? I'll probably check it out just because it has, it's kind of fantasy, maybe some power fantasy stuff with a female main character, I mean, I'll give it like an episode. If it sucks, it sucks. If it doesn't, it doesn't. But obviously, the picture here is not doing it any favors with everyone kind of smiling. Why are we laughing, right? Don't know. Regardless, moving on. We have Zenshu. Mappa, comedy and romance. Ooh. 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 That's not a good sign. After graduating from high school, she starts her career as an animator. Her talent flourishes, debut as director. First anime becomes a massive hit, sparking social phenomenon and earning her recognition as an up-and-coming genius director. Her next project is set to be a romantic comedy movie themed around first love. However, having never been in love herself, she struggles to understand the concept of first love. As a result, she's blah blah blah. Okay, I can see this going one of two ways. And it all depends on if the main girl here is going to be in a romance herself or she's not. You know what I read from this, right? I think she's a genius director, right? And her job now, right, is to write a good first love romance story, right? So it would be cool if she went around, if the show was basically about her going around and like meeting couples that are in love, or, you know, her kind of going around learning more about people who are in love, rather than like the show forcing the protagonist into a romance herself. Now, of course, if they do force her into a romance, then whether the show is good or not will heavily depend on the love interest. And, well, usually they just get it wrong. They just get it wrong. Maybe I'll give it an episode or two, just to see where the show is kind of going, because I can't really tell much from this description. We'll see. I'll give it like an episode. It depends again on the personality of the protagonist. Here we have comedy ecchi romance. Ding ding ding, ding ding ding, ding ding ding. Skip instantly. Don't even need to look. Instant skip. And by the way, right? Let me guess. This is the protagonist. Kirito motherfucking looking ass, but not really, right? But kinda, right? Let's read here a little bit, right? Okay, maybe it's not necessarily that he's the main character, but rather they're both kind of the main characters. But still, like, I wouldn't be surprised if the show is kind of from his perspective more, right? I really wouldn't be surprised. But this is the guy that I was talking about earlier. If the main character is a guy, then this is the guy. This is how the guy looks usually. Completely average, dull, uninteresting, boring. Like, why can't this guy be attractive like the guy from earlier, right? This guy. Why can't it be this guy, right? Imagine this guy came in this story, right? As this guy. Switch these guys out, right? And then the attractive male protagonist is not interested in the girl that everyone else likes, right? All of a sudden, both characters are very attractive, both characters are cool looking, and then they have a romance or something, right? I'm just not interested. I'm not interested in some sort of dull, fucking, boring-looking ass motherfucker main character, you know? It is what it is. Übelblatt! Übelblatt! Action, adventure, drama, ecchi fantasy. Action, adventure, drama. Why? Why? Just why? Why? Tell me why. Why is that there? Just why? Why are you doing this? Why? There is no reason why. You are idiot. Moron. Dumbfuck. Yes? You were dumbfuck? Yes? They had it. Action, adventure, drama, fantasy. That would be great. But no, they have to throw in the ecchi. And the moment they say it's ecchi, right? This is basically how the same way the comedy tags work in anime. See, when an anime show has the comedy tag in it, that means that the entire show is comedy. Okay? Most shows have a little bit of comedy in it. They have a little bit of fun in it, right? A couple of jokes here and there. When you watch a Marvel movie, you will know that there will be some comedy in it. But is a Marvel movie advertised as a comedy movie? No. Action, maybe adventure, maybe thriller, maybe, drama, maybe mystery, or something like that. It's usually promoted as an action movie, right? But there's still comedy in it. same thing goes for most anime shows where the majority of the show is like action or serious action or serious stuff. They don't show that there's a comedy tag on it, even though there's comedy in the show. Because the way they do it is, it's like 80% seriousness, maybe 90% seriousness, and then 10% comedy. But that doesn't give them the tag. Now, if the tag is there, if the comedy tag is there, then about 80%, 90% of the show will be comedy, and then 10% seriousness. Same thing goes for ecchi, is that you'll have fan service, you know, panty shots, whatever the fuck, right? You'll have those things in normal anime without the ecchi tag. So imagine how much of that shit is in there if they do have the ecchi tag. That means that, I don't want to say it, but like, that's like 10 times the ecchi. That's like 10 times the fan service, okay? Which means that even though this looks serious and whatnot, right? I'll bet you there's some sort of like weird ecchi, like some weird obvious fan service shit going on. Now I could be wrong. It could be that the ecchi here is simply because it's so serious that they might have like sex scenes or nudity or something like that, right? In which case, I'd be wrong, right? But I haven't seen that shit done before, legitimately. I haven't seen that shit. Usually whenever there's ecchi, it's kind of like, it's borderline hentai. When the wielder of the black sword draws his dark blade, only blah blah blah, torn asunder, mysterious young boy who carries the black sword, wields it with exceptional skill. Can he truly be responsible for the bloody rumors? Pursued by the traitor's lances, 4 powerful warriors who were thought to have been defeated by the 7 heroes, the strength of the young swordsman will be tested to its limit. I mean, they're talking about some serious stuff here. This seems pretty interesting, so I will give it an episode or two. But again, I suspect, I'm keeping my caution, right, with this one, because of the ecchi tag here. If they're doing some serious shit where there's like, you know, everyone's serious and the show takes itself seriously, but there's a little bit of, you know, nudity or something, and that's why they have the ecchi tag, then okay, fine, I was wrong. But, you know, it's better to be cautious than just think that it's going to be a good show and then it's full of fucking idiotic fan service. So yeah, 1 or 2 episodes maybe. Depends on where the show goes, right? What type of show it is. I'm definitely not liking this little girl here, though. Everything else is good except this, right? There's always some sort of... Whenever there's like a badass main character, you know, warrior type of character for the protagonist, there's always some little girl that they have to look out for, and it's like, oh, just get rid of the fucking little girl. It's so cringe. More romance again. Co-workers, they totally have the hots for each other. Helpful, yeah, blah blah blah. I mean, at least they seem to be adults. That's good. That's a plus. That's a plus in my head, in my mind, in my eyes. As long as they're adults, right? Like, sure. But once again, like, is it just me? Or, like, if you look at this picture here, right? Is it just me? Or is this woman so much hotter than the main girl? Right? Is it just me? Maybe it's my preference, but why can't this lady be the main girl? And I'm not gonna lie, I look at this picture and I'm like, okay, sure, I'll watch a romance, right? And you know what I find? And you know what I'm thinking? I'm thinking that I want to see the romance between these two characters a lot more than I want to see the romance between these two characters. And that's saying something, right? That is saying a lot. When I'm seeing 2 characters who are kind of clearly supposed to be like side characters, and I want to see their romance a lot more than the two main characters. I'm sorry, blushing is cringe. There, I said it. Blushing, hot take time. Blushing in anime is cringe, especially when it comes to romance. Especially like heavy blushing like this, as you can see on this picture. I think it's cringe, legitimately. I find it so much more interesting and entertaining when the characters aren't acting like teenagers, right? Especially when they're doing a romance, right? Which is why I'm a lot more interested in these two characters up here, because they actually seem like adults, right? Versus these two who are like giddy and I don't want to see a teen romance. I want to see an adult romance. I mean, if you're interested in romance, I guess feel free to check this out, but unlikely that I am going to. Very unlikely. Maybe if these two characters were the main characters, maybe I would, but just no. Just no. Adventure, fantasy, romance. God damn, this is the season of romance, apparently. The second season of Unnamed Memory. Okay. I don't think I've seen the first one. Yeah. I don't think I've seen the first one, so skip for me. I'm just gonna move on. I think this is new. I'm looking at the picture and I'm seeing the name of the show here, and it's like a combination of like 7 different fantasy anime that I've seen. But then I'm like, okay, it's not like a second season of anything. Action, adventure, comedy, ecchi fantasy. Ooh. Remember what I just said earlier? Oof. Nobody asked to be a cat after dying in a fight against forces of evil. Knight is shocked to discover that instead of being born as a hero of humanity, he starts his new life as a behemoth. One of the most powerful monsters in the world. The only problem is that a baby behemoth looks an awful lot like a double house cat. Things grow even more confusing when a beautiful life, blah, blah, blah. So what you're saying is that the character who's in the middle of the poster, in the middle of the promotional art, is not the main character for some reason. Instead, this monster here, I think, is the main character for some reason. Skip. I'm gonna skip this one. No, actually, the main character is this cat up here. You can't even see it. It's so small. That's the main character. Sorry, my bad. Moving on. Comedy, fantasy, romance, slice of life. Nihon ne yokoso, Elf-san. Miss Elf is intrigued by Japanese culture. Question mark, exclamation mark. Working adult. This guy's hobby is sleeping ever since he was an child rather. He had exciting adventures in the mysterious other world he dreams about. One day, while exploring ancient ruins with an elf girl he befriended, he is unfortunately burned by the wrath of a magic dragon he encounters. When he awakens from his dream, an elf girl who shouldn't be in his room is sleeping next to him. Now, this would be interesting if they actually, went full out with this. This actually, surprisingly, I think this is a good premise. Legitimately, right? I'm not, don't get me wrong, it's not like I like shitting on all these shows, right? I'm not shitting on these shows because I like shitting on these shows. I think this is a very good premise, legitimately. You could do so much with this. But you see, when I think about storylines, this elf is brought into our world, into our modern day. It could be almost like the first episode of Devil is a Part-Timer, right? Something like that, where the elf girl is very much in distress and very confused and doesn't know what the fuck is going on, where she is, what's going on. And then, slowly as she starts getting used to things, she wants to find a way back into her world. It wouldn't be a show where it's constant comedy and constant slice of life. There might be some slice of life, of course, but not constantly. Not constant comedy. It would be a show, I would write a show where this elf girl, you have these slice of life moments and a little bit of, sweet, romance, teasing here and there, right? A little bit of comedy, right? But then there's this underlying dark seriousness where she's deep down, she's depressed because she's in a foreign land. Everything is so foreign to her. She wants to go home. Maybe she's homesick, right? She feels out of place because she's an elf in the modern world. There could be so many actual adult serious storylines you could go down with this type of premise, but let's be honest, they're not going to, right? They're not going to. So probably a skip. Maybe I'll watch the first episode just to see what the tone is, but probably a skip for me. It is what it is. Immediately, I don't even need to look at the tags here. Adventure fantasy. Normally, I would say adventure fantasy could be cool, but then I see the promotional art here, and main guy in the middle who looks kind of like a femboy, right? Little, very girly little boy, smiling, not badass at all. And then girl, right? Now, there's some interesting, pretty hot-looking females here and here, right? A couple of very, interesting-looking females I like, right? But ultimately, seems like it's just gonna be kind of a harem that is not a harem, but actually kind of is a harem. It's not a harem because these characters are not necessarily into him, but they will become friendly with him and kind of show up as recurring characters. Thus, it's not a harem per se because they're not romantically interested, but still it kind of is a harem, right? Let's be honest. Seems like from what I'm reading here is that his seemingly boring creation skill allows him to create anything from a holy sword to flying ships, right? Kind of like there was another isekai show. I don't remember the name of it, but it had a female main protagonist who could create any type of potion, I think, and she could also determine what type of container the potion came in. So she could essentially create a sword, like a holy sword with all kinds of like magical powers, just have a little bit of potion inside the sword somewhere. Right? Thus, she could essentially create anything she wanted as long as it was technically a container for a potion. Very similar to that. Again, I might check out the first episode because I am a sucker for some power fantasy. And who knows, maybe it's not going to be so as cringe as it looks, but it is what it is. Moving on. I gotta go faster. I'm wasting so much time. Drama, slice of life. Her favorite pastime is reading literature. Invited by Mizuki to join the club, she embarks on a journey to discover her true love of reading. I mean, I can't really tell anything about this show from this description. All I can see is I'm looking at the main girl here. I assume this is the main character, and she seems kind of boring. And very, very dull. And boring. And kind of boring. And did I mention boring? Right? She looks kind of boring, right? Why can't this girl be the main girl? Why can't this girl in the back be the main girl? Right? Why is the main character of all these shows, why is the main character always the most boring one? The most dull, cringe, boring character. It's so dumb to me. Something about Okinawa. Transferred to a school in Okinawa, developed a crush on a girl named Kian-san, but I don't understand her dialects. Was helping me translate that. Okay, I mean, comedy romance, more romance, right? Teruaki Nakamura, I think is a male name. I'm trying to see like who the main character in this picture is. I don't see that there's anyone down here behind the name of the show, but I'm trying to see, like, where's the main character? Who's the main character in this picture? Like, legitimately, right? When you look at this promotional art, right? Who do you think is the main character? This person, right? This character here, right? This is the main character, right? Or this is the main character, right? That just makes sense, right? Because you have the main character in the middle. The biggest one in the middle, right? That's the main character, right? Should be, right? But no. Do you want to know who I think is the main character? This guy right here behind, under the ass of the girl, right? With the umbrella. I think that's the main character. And this is how these fucking shows kind of false advertise to you. They put all the cute girls in the middle, showing their figures and their facial expressions. We're so happy. And you start thinking, oh, one of these two girls must be the main character, right? Nope. It's the guy in the background. Most likely a skip. Medalist. So I immediately see something that I don't like, which is, why is there a little girl here and then the guys here as well? Drama, psychological sports. Okay. Tsukasa, whose dreams were crushed, Inori left to fend for herself. These two share a dream, and their tenacity may be the only thing that sees them through. Their destination, the ice on the world stage. So this is ice skating, right? Obviously, it's hard to tell, but what I'm hoping here is that these two are not a thing. Okay, I'm hoping that this girl is maybe like a up-and-coming superstar when it comes to ice skating, and then he is like a maybe ex-professional ice skater who maybe broke his leg or something, right? That type of thing. And then they have kind of a mentorship relationship where he's kind of like teaching her and training her and stuff like that, right? Not that they have some sort of weird, like, you know. The reason I say this is because I see Inori left to fend for herself, which makes me think that, like, she, I don't know, loses her family, her parents or something, so she's left to fend for herself, right? And then he, like, adopts her, which gives me the feeling of that one show where, you know, you had the father and daughter, and it was all wholesome, right? Until the daughter became a teenager in the show, and then they got together, and it was super cringe. And, you know, most people don't talk about that show, but, you know, it's so easy for a show to go, oh, that's wholesome, to, oh, that's incest. But I digress. Moving on, we have action, adventure, comedy, drama, fantasy. So let's see. I can't even see the main character because I don't know why they do it on this website like this. Yeah, it seems like very, very generic fantasy again. Once again, the weakest and least fortunate of all the jobs, blah, blah, blah. Classic, everyone thinks he's a fucking noob and shitter, when in reality he has the most powerful ability, blah, 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 right? We've seen this time and time again. We're not even gonna bother reading the description here. I might check out the first episode just to see, because some of these shows, I mean, some of them are incredibly shit, right? To the point where I just drop them immediately, but others can, like, sometimes some of these power fantasy isekai shows, fantasy shows, they have something that they're doing that's unique, that kind of keeps me coming back. So we'll just have to see what that unique thing is about this show, if there even is any. But if there is, I might continue. If there is not, I'll probably drop it after the first episode. Comedy fantasy. After a traffic accident, 52-year-old civil servant Kenzaburo Tondabayashi awakens to find he's become Grace Avern, a duke's daughter. Why? Right, so I really find it super... I don't know what it is, right? But I find it incredibly cringe. Incredibly cringe when... when a male character, like an old man, like a male old man, reincarnates into the body of a girl. I find them so super mega cringe. Why? Because it doesn't even need to happen. Why? Why do you need this 52-year-old old man to become this duke's daughter? You could just as easily, unless like him being an old man in the modern world somehow becomes an important story point. Unless that happens, I don't see why you can't just have a 50-year-old woman civil servant who died in the modern world and then just became a duke's daughter. Why can't you just do that? Because personally, I'm of the mind that what makes you is your mind, right? So if, for instance, as an example, if I died and I got reincarnated into the body of a girl, I would not be a girl. I would still be a guy in the body of a girl. Like, if I have my mind as it is now, my mind would still be that of a guy. Nothing would change except for my physical body. Absolutely nothing about my mind would change. So in reality, what I see is that this 52-year-old just reincarnates into a female body, but it's still a 52-year-old old guy. But I suppose I'll give it one episode, maybe. I'm just a sucker for fantasy, right? Maybe some shows can pull, like I said earlier with the previous one, a lot of these fantasy shows, they usually have something about them that is a little bit unique. A little bit. And, you know, if that something is good enough, I'll stick around. But, this show, I'm not holding out hope. We have more fantasy here. Action, adventure, comedy, fantasy. Once again, a rig party, fed up, ridiculed by the other members. It's like, this is unique, right? Oh my god, we have never seen this before. Yeah, I mean, maybe one episode. But again, it's a harem, right? Main guy, at least the main guy looks somewhat unique with his outfit, but girl, slop. It's fantasy slop. Grisaya, Phantom Trigger, the animation. This one I might actually check out. On the other hand, I might not, because I've played all the visual fruit, Grisaya no Kachitsu, Fruit of Grisaya visual novels, except for the Phantom Trigger stuff, right? And I was kind of sitting on them, maybe waiting for the right time. I'm still kind of sitting on them, so I'm not sure if I should watch the animation before reading the visual novels. I feel like it's gonna be pretty good, because honestly, the anime for, Fruit of Grisaya was pretty good. Like, pretty well animated and stuff, so, Moving on, we have mystery, slice of life. Main character, girl, right? Right? In the middle? Perfectly in the middle, right? Like, that's the main character, right? Let's read the description. Department of Diagnostic Pathology handles cases other physicians deem too difficult to treat. It's also where bizarre mysteries surface, from unexplained illnesses to strange murders even the police can't solve. At the center of it all is Takao Ameku. Takao, male name. I'm pretty sure, unless this is the last name and then Ameku is the first name. I'm not super familiar with all I know is Takao. Takao is usually a male name, but I'm not sure. If this is the last name, then Ameku could also be the first name, which I can see being a female name. Point is, I assume the main character is the girl because she's in the middle, right? Right? And not this guy behind her, right? Ah, you see? Voiced by the female voice actress, which means Takao Ameku is the girl, which means the girl is the main character. Good. You get points. You get a point for having a female character. Not gonna lie, the main guy here at the back is kind of dull. This one I will probably check out because it actually seems like, everyone's an adult. And there's like a serious guy here, not serious girl here, I mean, kind of a hot lady here. It actually feels serious. The description talks about like strange murders. I'm checking this one out. Enough said. Ishura, second season. I watched the first season. It was very good. They spent most of their season basically setting up a bunch of characters, and then they didn't get anywhere. So second season of Ishura, definitely going to be watching. The first season was very good, but again, it was like unfinished essentially. Moving on, we have Salaryman, Isekai ni Ittara. Okay, so immediately I'm looking here. I see adventure, comedy, fantasy. Once again, remember what I said about comedy, right? But you know what really pisses me off about this one, and why I'm probably gonna skip, right? I know it's hard to see here, but if you really look closely, right over there, right? Look at the main character here sitting, right? Tell me, use your brain right now. If you're watching this right now, okay? Think with me here. Think. If you look at the main guy here, right? Why is he different? than all these other characters. And I'm not talking about the fact that he's human and like this person has cat ears and this person is like whatever the fuck that is, right? No. Hint. Look at what they're wearing. Look at what they are wearing. Okay? I personally think, and this is just my personal opinion, okay? But I am the arbiter of all things anime, so my opinion matters more than yours, so fuck you, right? But my opinion is that if a character gets isekai'd and they don't change out of their modern day outfit, something like ReZero with their sweatpants and sweater, or whatever the fuck, right? And like they don't change out of their modern day outfit, that show is complete and utter fucking trash. Now, ReZero, for instance, yeah, they have some redeeming qualities, but I'm sorry, if the main character gets isekai'd and they don't change out of their clothes, your show is most likely complete and utter fucking dog shit, okay? There is no universe, there is absolutely no universe where someone would get isekai'd and they're in a fantasy world where there's armor and swords and other races and stuff like that. There is no universe where you don't change out of your modern day clothes. There just isn't. So the moment I see that the main character didn't change out of their modern day clothes, immediately I'm throwing it in the garbage. Okay, complete garbage, instantly. Because I know that your protagonist clearly is not fucking thinking, right? You're clearly not taking your story seriously if you're doing that. So yeah, I think this is gonna be complete trash because, I mean, sorry, like, change out of your fucking clothes, bro. More fantasy. Jesus Christ, it's like fantasy and romance are just ruling this season. Adventure fantasy. Innocently enjoying himself after work, one man's life changes forever. He wakes up in the body of Liam Hamilton, the youngest son of a noble house on the brink of collapse. Amid the chaos, Liam realizes he finally has time to learn and practice magic. Once it begins, it takes his life for an even bigger turn. Can Liam master magic and save his noble family? The aristocratic fantasy begins. I'm guessing this guy's the main character. He looks fucking boring. Looks like a little fucking pathetic loser of a main character. Sorry. I would much rather have this guy, this buff guy, as the main character, to be honest. Is it just me? But again, maybe it's something interesting. I'll maybe give it a first episode, even though this is much more likely to be a skip for me than those other ones, those other fantasy trash isekais. Moving on, we have Mahotsukai no Yakusoku fantasy. Main guy, hopefully, I'm guessing is this guy here, but there's a lot of guys here, which makes me think that this is not the main character. You want to know who I think is the main character, right? The one girl in the picture, in the very middle here, surrounded by 17 guys. She was chosen to lead them in battle. Skip. Not interested. Like, it would be one thing if you had, like, maybe half the cast was female, the other half was male. Maybe, but like, when it's such a one-sided, like, sausage fest, even if it was the other way around, male main character and a bunch of females, it's like, both ways, it sucks. It's fucking stupid and cringe. I'm just gonna skip. Once again, more fantasy. Action, adventure, fantasy / life. On the night of his 30th birthday, one man's dreams of wielding magic come true after he unexpectedly passes away. He wakes, he gets isekai'd. A young child in another world. He and his elder sister, Marie, are the children of a lower class noble family. It's like almost like we just read that, didn't we? Body of Liam Hamilton, the youngest son of a noble house family, noble house on the brink of collapse. It's almost like we just read that exact same thing, but okay. He and his, blah blah blah. After receiving conflicted messages from their father, they set out on an adventure. Why do they have to be children? And once again, right? Let me like, I obviously don't know who is what character, right? You have Shion, and then Maria, right? Let me guess. This one here in the middle, this is Sion, right? And which one is Maria, do you think? Which one is Marie, do you think? If you can immediately tell me which one of these characters is Mary without knowing the source material, you're based. Respect. This one is Marie, okay? This is Maria. This is Maria, okay? This one. How do I know this? He and his elder sister, right? And, well, an elder sister wouldn't be touching the younger brother like this. Who gives off elder sister vibes? The elder sister here. This is not going to be the elder sister, let's be honest. So it's this character right here, because she's a noble. She looks like a noble, right? Why can't we have her be the main character? Just looking at this picture, if you asked me who I wanted to be the main character, I would say her. Not even a question. And once again, who the fuck are these two? What? Like, let's be honest, right? He might be reincarnated, like adult, right? 30th birthday, by the way. A 30-year-old man, plus 10 years as a child, right? 40-year-old, probably. And let me guess, it's not like these little girls are reincarnated as well. They're not, right? So, a 40-year-old man in the body of a child hanging out with a bunch of children. Cringe. Extreme cringe. Skip. Etchy fantasy. Transmigrates. You can just say isekais, bro. To another world while foraging in the mountains. He gets out, blah, 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 blah. So he starts selling modern day stuff in the fantasy world that are for good prices. Yes, we've seen this before. This could be nice, interesting, but then I see ecchi and I'm like, ooh. Maybe. If I have nothing better to do. Action, adventure, fantasy. Skill fruits grant special powers. Like devil fruits. Ooh. Boy who seeks to become the world's greatest adventurer. Why? Don't know. It's probably never given a reason. Bogus skill specializing in fruit cultivation. That blah 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 blah. More power fantasy stuff. Once again. I was gonna say I'll give it a one episode, but then I saw, even though you can't really see it well here, but there's this blue-haired little girl right behind the main character, maybe even like on his back or something, so I'm gonna skip this one. Here we have like some mecha show. I'm not really into mechas, to be honest. If you're into like the classic, old school Power Ranger type of mecha stuff, then maybe, but like, I never grew up with that shit, not interested at all. This is kind of gay, bro. Moving on. Romance drama and you have fucking a bunch of boys. What am I, gay? Not my cup of tea. Sorairo utility. Slice of life, sports. What sports? Golf, I guess? I suppose this can be a decent slice of life show, but like if you're gonna do sports, right? If you're gonna do a golf sports, check like Birdie Wing, I think it was, right? At least, like if you're gonna do a sports anime or a sports show, right? Now here at least they say slice of life, so I would say sports is kind of the reason why the characters are doing what they're doing. But usually, in my opinion, if you have sports, if your show has to do with a sport, you at least want your main character to be a good player in that sport, which is why, for instance, Birdie Wing, I think the name was for that show, the main character is very skilled. Both the main characters are very skilled, like professional level type of skilled. Because it's much more interesting to see like professional level characters in these sports anime. Momentary Lily. Action. This does not scream action to me, but okay. Robotic invaders wiped out all life, but Renge fights to survive using her powers. With no memories, she roams the city until she meets 5 other young women, each with unique abilities. Together, they make the most of their lives, cooking delicious meals between battles and mechanical monstrosities. As they uncover the secrets of their powers and pasts, they find strength in their friendship. How good this show is going to be depends on the charisma of fuck, what's the word, dude? I've been having some troubles with my short-term memory. Holy shit. Like, I keep forgetting words in English. Chemistry. It depends, how good the show is going to be depends on the chemistry between the characters, in my opinion. That's pretty much all I can say. Might seem interesting, but again, it depends on the chemistry between the characters. So I might give it like an episode or two, just to see if they have chemistry between the characters. Bang Bang Dream. Drama, music, slice of life. It seems very much like a lot of those other shows that have to do with a bunch of girls and like it being like a music show. Like, next thing you know, they're battling some sort of aliens with music, and it becomes kind of cringe, right? I feel like I might give it a 1-episode watch just to see what the tone is, what the atmosphere for this show is. Otherwise, probably a skip. I don't know. Something about it just does not give me a good vibe. Like, you read this, right? Will you give me the rest of your life? After losing everything in a single night, Sakiko Togawa reaches out toward an even deeper abyss, one that will drag everyone around her down as well. Like, and then you look at this, it's like, there's music, they're like on a stage or something, there's like lights and fireworks, I think, or something. It's like, what is this? What is this, like, dark, like, monologuing? But on the picture, you're like idols on a stage, and then there's music. It's like, what the fuck? Like, what is this, like, description? It's so, I don't know, contradictory. That's the feeling it gives me. So yeah, I'm gonna have to like actually check out the first episode to see what the feeling of the show is. Comedy fantasy room. I'm just gonna skip. Like, I've already talked about this, right? Like, let's be honest. It's always the same shit. The main character is a girl, right? And the main guy is this long hair, blonde hair prince. It's like, oh. Can we do something unique or original? No. We move on. Mystery, supernatural. Hotel exists in a limbo state. Souls. Afterlife. Protagonist comes across with no memory of who she is, how she came to be there. Employee leads the way, shows her to her room, explaining in these rooms there should be items that are related to our guests' memories. This gives me like Death Parade type of vibes. Maybe. Seems pretty interesting. I'll give it a watch, I guess. Again, depends on the first episode, obviously. If it sucks ass, then I'm dropping it. If it continues to be interesting, mystery, supernatural, then I might continue. It doesn't immediately throw me off my game with some cringe. Next up we have Baban Bun Vampire. Comedy, romance, supernatural. Skip. Like, what? Nah. For magia. This looks like literal fairy tale, bro. What is this, fairy tale? Probably from the same author, let's be honest. You literally have characters that look exactly like fairy tale characters. Bruh. At least come up with some new unique designs, bro. I'm gonna skip this. This just does not fit with my vibe at all. This looks like Pokemon, but fairy tale? Fairy tale Pokemon? Nah. No. Hell no. Guy. Maybe a girl. Maybe. But it could also be a guy. And then guy. So, skip. Just glancing at it, I thought this said porn star. Second season of Unite Up Porn Star's Journey. Ooh, that was close. Yeah, no. TV short, no. Comedy, action, romance, hell no. Trillion game, considering it's a continuation and by Madhouse, maybe I'll give it a try. But the art style seems very, very like, not really my cup of tea, not gonna lie. Maybe it's decent. One Piece. We're not even gonna talk about One Piece this time. I'm surprised this show is continuing. I thought it would be like a 12 episode thing. Honestly, this show is the one that I've been kind of the most interested in checking out. You know, as I've seen it air, but I don't know. I haven't pulled the trigger. Something about it just seems. Something about it just seems. It gives me a vibe of wannabe. Like if it's something like Kaiji, I think it was, right? Yeah, Kaiji. Like that show I remember watching, and holy shit, that show was good. There was also, oh yeah, Akagi. Akagi, 2005 to 2006. Holy shit, that's an old show. Oh my god. But yeah, I remember Akagi and Kaiji. Those are like incredibly good and like legitimate mindfuck gambling shows. Though, like, dude, make this. Oh man, maybe I should go rewatch those shows. Oh, I seem to remember they were incredibly good. But yeah, like this is like a wannabe Kaiji. That's the feeling that I'm getting. Money, women, organs, and then you have a high school boy. It's like, or you could just have I don't know, an adult character going into an underground mahjong parlor, trying to earn money or something. But yeah, it gives me the feeling of like a wannabe Akagi or Kaiji. So it's like, that's why I just haven't pulled the trigger. Maybe I need to watch the first episode. Like that's just what I need to do. Just see what the vibe is, what the tone of and the atmosphere of the show is. And then maybe I'll continue watching it. No. Make a girl. What is this, Build-A-Bear? What the fuck? Story centered around the main character Akira and his scientifically created girlfriend, bro. Quite well timed, honestly. This movie seems to be quite well timed. No. Nah, not interested. No. Just no. Hell no. And that, my friends, has been the winter 2025 anime season. Ay. That took a long time. What do I think is actually worth watching here? I do think there are some bangers here. You know, you have, as you can see right there, you have Solo Leveling second season of, you know, the Apothecary Diaries. You have some Dr. Stone. And then the rest were, like, maybe there's a couple of, like, there's a couple of potential shows that I see some potential in, but a lot of them were seemingly very anime-esque romance and fantasy, which I think most of it's just gonna be slop, not gonna lie. There are some bangers, but most of the bangers are sequels. And then a bunch of isekai and fantasy shows, power fantasy shows. For instance, one show that I'm interested in is this one right here. This one right here. This one I'm slightly interested in. Like a new one. Because they're all physicians and they're in this department, general hospital, right? They're all adults, hopefully. And because they mention like strange murders and stuff that the police can't solve, this might be interesting. I think this season will have a lot of anime slop, a lot of anime, a lot of cringe romance, a lot of cringe fantasy slop that most people are just gonna skip over, to be honest. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed going through this season of anime with me. At least there's going to be some shows to watch this season. What show am I the most looking forward to? 100% Apothecary Diaries. 100%, not even a question. It's not even close. Solo Leveling, you might say? Well, Solo Leveling can go solo my asshole, but I will be reacting to it nonetheless. Regardless, I hope you enjoyed, and I shall see you next time when the next season of anime comes out. Until then.